My name is Caroline Kioko. I work at Henrich Boll Foundation. I work on gender democracy. So Unmothering the Woman Season 1 was started because we wanted to work on advocacy, or to be able to advocate for stereotypes that have continuously tied women, or rather made them not progress. So when we started that, we understood that the journey to dismantling stereotypes is not one overnight. So Unmothering Season 2 was in continuation of that, but also we very much appreciated the feedback that came out from Unmothering Season 1, and we thought to take into consideration the thoughts that people had and the topics that people highlighted that should appear in Season 2, and those were topics that they thought were very important to the Unmothering the Woman conversation. And since we are in a position to do that, and it's part of the advocacy, we thought, why not? So Unmothering the Woman 2 happened and is happening. So the first season of Unmothering was really our own curation. We thought about what was pertinent, the topics that people would want addressed, or the topics that we thought were essential. Unmothering the Woman 2 was, and I have to say, is mostly a production of women's voices. Women came back and said, how about you look at these topics? Well, how about you talk about these too? It's been a problem. It's something that people do not talk about, so we are interested in hearing it. So I'd say most of the topics in Unmothering the Woman 2 are really reflection of what society wants to see. And by society, I mean women in the society and women who reached out to us want to see and want to hear as part of the Dismantling the Stereotypes campaign. HBS, I mean Henrich Boll Foundation, is a foundation that is very keen on ensuring that there is gender democracy. And gender democracy really cuts across everything, gender equity, gender equality, intersectionality, and all the other variations of gender inclusion that they are. Really, our aim as a foundation is to ensure that the voice of the woman is heard. And for the voice of the woman to be heard, we have to make sure that we cut some of the cords, some of the ties that have really made sure that women are not heard, or some of the thoughts that people have that diminish the voice of the woman and make a woman less of an agency. So this conversation on Unmothering the Woman is really very core and critical to the work that Henrich Boll Foundation is doing. And it's important to also note that before we get to policy, we also have to be able to speak to the values, attitudes, and culture in the society. You cannot work on law and policy in a vacuum. So this particular conversation is quite vital for that process. So last season was quite something when I saw all the conversations on the Unmothering the Woman site, on all the social media handles, social media groups, and also outside of the social media groups. I really got involved in several conversations with people who are having informal discussions about the Unmothering the Woman topics. And I think that for me was a joy. It was a delight to hear people talk about that, because that was our intent, to hear people talk about those conversations in whichever way. I mean, the content is not what was key to me, it's the fact that people are talking. And that is something that I would want to also see in Unmothering the Woman 2, where people personalize and contextualize some of these topics, because the women who are coming out with their stories, it doesn't mean that their stories are cast on stone, that is the only perspective that is out there. There's various other perspectives. So let's talk about it. I would really love to see that happen. But I would say I'm just looking forward to the conversations that will come out of this.